Imagine you're holding two things in your hands. In one hand, a thick, solid iron bar, strong, unbending. In the other, a piece of bamboo, light, flexible, yielding. Now imagine a fierce storm rolling through. Lightning cracks, thunder shakes the sky, and wind tears through everything in its path. Which one breaks? It's not the bamboo. The iron bar, so proud in its strength, snaps under pressure. The bamboo? It bends, it flows, it survives, and continues to grow. This is the paradox of power. We're taught in modern culture that to succeed, to win, to lead, we must be relentless, unyielding, dominant. But the Tao teaches us something far more ancient and far more powerful. To contain, let it expand. To weaken, let it grow strong. To eliminate, allow it to flourish. To take, grant it freely. It's backwards logic to the Western mind, but it's ancient truth to the wise. Let's explore this. Chapter 36 of the Tao Te Ching. Should you want to contain something, you must deliberately let it expand. Should you want to weaken something, you must deliberately let it grow strong. Should you want to eliminate something, you must deliberately allow it to flourish. Should you want to take something away, you must deliberately grant it. This is called subtle illumination. Flexibility and yielding overcome adamant coerciveness. Fish shouldn't be taken from the depths. The effective tools of the nation shouldn't be shown to others. The hidden wisdom of subtle illumination. In chapter 36 of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu introduces the principle of subtle illumination, a quiet kind of understanding that sees beyond surface power and understands deeper strategy. He explains that when you truly want to influence something, a person, a team, a business, a habit, or even your own emotions, the path is not force, but flow. Let's break this down with some real-life examples. You want to help someone heal from trauma. Pushing them to open up rarely works, but giving them space, presence, and unconditional support, that opens the door. You want to dissolve a harmful habit. Trying to smash it with shame often backfires, but watching it with calm awareness, seeing its roots, understanding its payoff, that creates room for release. You want to lead a team through conflict. Forcing alignment stirs resistance, but modeling calm, asking questions, and allowing things to breathe, that's how cohesion forms. The Tao is not passive, it's just not reactive. Subtle illumination means learning to see the timing, energy, and natural flow of things, and responding from a place of centered presence rather than domination. And that brings us to a story. The Mahout and the Elephant. There's a story from India about a young Mahout, an elephant trainer, who inherited his father's role at a large temple. His elephant, Ravi, was enormous, easily 2 tons of muscle and wild power. And as the boy tried to train him, he used all the methods he saw others use, shouting, whipping, bribing with fruit. But Ravi would not yield. One day, after being dragged through the mud by the animal once again, the boy sat under a tree in frustration. His hands were blistered, his voice was gone, he felt powerless. An old woman from the village sat beside him. She had watched this for weeks, and she said, "You're trying to conquer him with fear, but an elephant's heart only bows to stillness." The boy was confused, so she taught him a new way. He stopped using force. He began simply sitting near the elephant each morning, calm, still, grounded. He would breathe slowly, wait, speak softly, and leave fruit nearby without demand. Weeks passed. Ravi began to soften. His ears no longer flared. He began to sit nearby. Months passed. The elephant followed him on his own. Years later, Ravi was the gentlest temple elephant in the region, led not by chains but by presence. The Mahout had discovered the Tao of leadership. And this story isn't just about elephants, it's about relationships, healing, business, our bodies, and the very systems we operate in. Yielding is strategy, not weakness. So let's bring this home. Yielding isn't weakness. It's the most intelligent form of strength. It's what allows you to stay fluid under pressure, to lead without ego, to step back when stepping forward would create resistance, to flow around obstacles instead of wasting energy breaking through them. Let's say you're navigating a health challenge, chronic pain, fatigue, injury, burnout. Your instinct may be to push harder, do more, fix it aggressively. But what if instead you paused, breathed, sat with it, asked what it was trying to show you? That's subtle illumination. It's the awareness that says, if I want to heal, I may need to let go of my need to control the process. If I want to contain something, maybe I need to let it expand first to see its full shape. The shark in the water. Let's revisit a metaphor you've heard in this series, one that fits this chapter perfectly. We all live on an island, but to reach that island, we have to cross waters, and those waters are often filled with sharks. These sharks represent our fears, unresolved past, insecurities, and old pain. Most people try to rush past the sharks or avoid the water altogether, but the meditative approach teaches us differently. The only way to truly reach your island in peace is to befriend the sharks and leave them feeling satisfied. Feed them, understand them, don't stir the waters, because when you learn to settle those sharks, your old stories, triggers, defenses, they stop chasing you. Now, when you venture to new places, you're not haunted by what you ran from. You're carried by what you integrated. That's the Daoist secret. Don't conquer your problems, understand them. So how do we apply this? Here are two simple but transformational practices. 1. The practice of expansion before containment. Think of a challenge you're facing. Instead of trying to clamp down on it, let it expand. Journal everything you feel. Let the emotion or issue show itself fully. Then, once it's no longer hidden, guide it gently. Why it works. When you let something be seen fully, it loses its power to control you from the shadows. 2. The practice of yielding presence. Each morning, take 5 minutes to sit in silence. Feel your breath, feel your body, listen inward. Say silently, I don't need to force today. I choose to flow. Why it works. You set the tone for your nervous system, and your nervous system sets the tone for your actions, relationships, and leadership. The cycle of real power, Lao Tzu writes, flexibility and yielding overcome adamant coerciveness. This doesn't mean we become doormats. It means we stop playing tug of war with the world, because in tug of war, the only way to win is to pull harder. But the Taoist drops the rope, and that changes the game. When we release our addiction to domination, control, and resistance, we step into a new kind of influence, a power that doesn't chase validation, doesn't need to shout, doesn't burn out. It's quiet, deep, lasting, just like the bamboo that survives the storm. Not because it's the strongest, but because it knows how to yield. Closing thought, the long game of peace. If you take nothing else from today's teaching, take this. Let go to grow, yield to lead, flow to influence. You don't have to fight your way to the top. You don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to force things into place. You just have to be centered enough to listen, still enough to observe, wise enough to let the shark swim by without running from it. And if you do that, you'll not only reach your island, you'll become the ocean. If this teaching on chapter 36 sparked something in you, like the video, drop a comment with one insight you're taking into your week. Share this with someone who's always felt the need to push and might benefit from learning how to flow. And if you haven't already, join us in the 81-Day Tao Challenge. Every morning, one teaching, one reflection, one breath closer to becoming who you really are. The way is subtle, but it's always available. See you in the next lesson.